Hi friends, yesterday was truly captivating. My family loaded me into the car and we embarked on a long and winding drive. The road twisted and turned, revealing glimpses of scenic beauty. Eventually, we arrived at our first stop, a charming place in Half Moon Bay. There we indulged in mouth-watering sandwiches and delicious soup. Despite my best efforts, my humans weren't too generous with the samples, but I managed to sneak a few bites under the table. The freshly baked bread was an absolute delight. After lunch, we set off on another quick drive, and our destination turned out to be something magical: the beach. At first, I felt a tad intimidated. The waves were colossal, unlike anything I'd ever seen. Back in my previous life, before being adopted, the largest body of water I encountered was a humble backyard pool. But now, here I stood, facing the mighty ocean. As we approached the beach, the ground beneath my paws transformed. It was a curious texture, soft yet rough, and they called it sand. Oh, how I loved it. Digging into the sand was like unearthing hidden treasures. It had a peculiar taste, a bit gritty perhaps, but if you swallowed it quickly, it went down smoothly. Just be warned, it leaves you super thirsty because it's so darn salty. And the fun, running across the sand, kicking it up into the air and diving head first. It was an exhilarating experience. The beach was my playground, especially when I played with my kids. The older boys tossed the football around while I engaged in a lively game of tag with the little one. But then came the moment of bravery. My humans led me closer to the water's edge. The ocean roared and thundered, and I felt a mix of awe and fear. Those waves were like titans crashing against the shore. The wind carried the scent of frothy, salty ocean water, a little funky but oddly appealing. As we stood there, the waves danced back and forth, leaving behind a whipped white foam. I tasted it. Eck, it was pure saltiness, nothing like the pup cup treats I'm used to. Initially hesitant, I eventually dipped my paws into the water, and it was invigorating. At first, I didn't want to get dragged out there with my peoples. They were insistent, though, and I sensed their brewing excitement. "Sharks," they whispered, their eyes wide. "There are sharks out there, you know." Now, I'm no expert, but I've heard tales of these toothy sea creatures. They're like the neighborhood bullies of the ocean. Not exactly friendly if you catch my drift. But here's the thing. My humans sometimes call me a shark. Why? Because I'm stealthy. I stalk around the kitchen table, waiting for my chance to strike, just like a great white shark on the prowl. Except, well, I'm more of a kitchen table variety than a fearsome predator. A great white kitchen table shark, to be precise. Yep, that's me. Suddenly, my boys were off, running like the wind. The waves crashed closer than I'd anticipated, and before I knew it, my paws were wet. And let me tell you, it was colder than a backyard shower out there. Brisk, they call it. But you know what? It made me want to jump. So, jump I did. We splashed around, back and forth, like a trio of water-loving maniacs. Another wave hit us, and suddenly I was soaked to the bone. A little cold, too, but the thrill of it all kept me going. I glanced back at my mom. She was sitting there, sandy toes and all, her eyes shining with joy. I could practically hear her thoughts. Look at my brave pup, conquering the mighty ocean. I went back to see how she was doing. She was super excited to see me. She didn't mind at all that I shook myself off right next to her, showering her with salty droplets. In fact, I think she secretly loved it. Now she was wet like me, and we were a soggy, sandy duo. I'm such a good girl, you see. I like to share my wetness, my sandy paws, and my salty adventures. It's my way of saying, "Hey Mum, we're in this together. Let's embrace the beach life." And she laughs because she knows I'm her little beach buddy. Overall, I'd give the beach a solid 10 out of 10. It's like this magical playground designed just for me. I run wild, dig holes, and lounge in the sunlight like a sunbathing superstar. The smell of salt and seaweed. It's intoxicating. And yes, I've been known to nibble on a few questionable things. Seagull feathers, anyone. But the pièce de résistance? Playing in the water and splashing around, it's like a symphony of joy conducted by the crashing waves. So there you have it, my beach escapade. Waves, sand, and salty adventures. Life is full of surprises, and this day was one for the memory books. So, my fellow adventurers, heed my wagging tail. The beach awaits. When you have a chance, go. Dig, splash, and embrace the salty breeze. And remember, even if you're not a great white kitchen table shark like me, you'll find your own brand of beach magic. I can't wait to go back. I'll be the one chasing seashells and leaving paw prints in the sand.